And we are now rolling on the vid. Is that an actual phrase? Sounds pretty cool. Hi, hello, and good morning. As we are recording the video, we are readying for the live radio program we do every day called Delaware County Today. On the talk radio of Muncie, I'm Steve Lindell, your host. My producer is Leslie Griffin. Sean Mattingly is our chief technologist. He asked me in an email very late last night, why do you look at your notes so much, or words to that effect? It's because I can't memorize all this stuff. I really appreciate his behind-the-scenes help, by the way. He is fantastic, helping us refine and build up our capabilities inside this brand new video, audio, multi-purpose studio. I'll hush in just a moment here, and if you want to hear what's going on over the radio, you can listen to 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and on Alexa, the command is play WMUN. The aforementioned Sean Mattingly is working on a technology update that will allow the air audio to fly to the video as well. All right, I'll hush for just a minute. And hot mic. Temperatures up and down, and rain will take away the white Christmas chance for Muncie, maybe. VOC in 10 minutes. At the bottom of the hour, we'll have JD, more letters, in our new video studio. And Muncie Central wins last night. Hi, hello, and good morning. Steve Lindell finally looking at the proper camera, I think, on Delaware County Today. He's not looking at a camera right now, though he's a TV guy. He is, and he's our meteorologist. His name is Paul Poteet. And Leslie, I will go quickly into the local news summary in this segment to keep us on time. And let's go hot mic. Thank you, Paul Poteet. Hourly updates, weekdays, weekends, and through the holidays to come, too. He's always on duty. I said duty. Let's get our local news summary out. As I say, good morning to Mama in Minnesota, Roger, too, and Sister Sherry on the left coast. Others are listening in Greenwood, South Carolina, Chicagoland. Los Angeles is clicking on and off. Perhaps you have some interweb problems. And a couple of Ohio listeners, at least on the screen here, Alliance, and is that one near Ohio State? I think so. Let's get our local news summary on now, WMUN. All right. The local news summary is playing on the radio, now behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz. You will see me clicking on a couple of computer screens here, which allows me to connect with none other than Mick Tidrow in our next segment. This is what I call our Zoom room. You can't see the screen from where you are, but trust me, it's pretty darn cool. And I click on that and that, and put it over in the other screen. I'm thinking out loud because it's a lot of things for me to keep track of. Okay, gotta switch one more screen. That's better. I can give you a look around the room here. If you're watching the video replay, you're wondering, where's the radio audio? It's because the radio audio is on the radio, the original social media. For Leslie, my producer, in the Axia Command Center, let's go straight into break one out of summary. Straight to break one on the radio. So now, as I have told you that much for now, we'll take a little tour around the room. There's our 3 microphone position and the fancy on-air light that I remembered to turn on just before the broadcast began. Here's a close-up of our guest that is coming in soon, J.D. Prescott, state rep. And here's another angle from the other side of the room. Close-up to the radio buddy. Am I looking at the right one now? Hold on a second. That one. It's really hard to keep track of. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for allowing us to learn on the fly and refine and get better. The usage of this room is fantastic possibility thinking for 2026 and beyond. Jay Chapman, our owner, the brainchild of this facility, the workings of Sean Mattingly, our chief technologist, Justin, and several others too, have put this thing together for us to do a lot of different things that can support our community and use our voice to build and connect our community as we get ready to come out of what's on the air right now. We're still hearing our local news summary. WMUN is our talk radio station. News talk, sports talk, community talk, talk radio of Muncie, Indiana, USA. All of our features, segments, and shows are podcastable too. That is thanks to people behind the scenes like Leslie Griffin, putting those on our website, WMUNmuncie.com, WMUNmuncie.com. If you ever want to replay anything or you miss a show, or maybe you just want to check and see, did Steve really say what I thought he said? Well, it's out there. WMUNmuncie.com. There's Facebook and there's X, Twitter, whatever they call it nowadays. Lots of social media contacts. Some we use better than others. Some I just don't know how to use very well. This is the honesty behind the scenes on the video stream. A couple of people have asked me, will you have a live video stream sometime, Steve? Yes, you will be on YouTube Live, still working on refining that part, and we will get that put together in hopefully early 2026, which isn't that far away. Watching our Zoom room and watching our connections within our eyesight and line of sight. And on the radio, we are playing our first commercial break of the ones that are scheduled during the hour, just as planned. Outstanding. And I think I will, in the meantime, bring up our Zoom audio here in my headphones so that when Mick Tidrow connects momentarily, I'll probably hear him and then I'll see him. Bottom of hour today in the room will be Indiana State Rep Republican J.D. Prescott. I will ask him several questions, as I typically do. The lead question will be about redistricting and the new congressional map that will not be happening, and get his thoughts from on the ground. He's in the House of Representatives, which is different than the Senate. The House said yes, the Senate said no, as you probably know by now. We like to get firsthand opinions and words and feelings about those sorts of things. That's why we talk directly to movers and shakers. Earlier this week, Democrat Sue Arrington was in our room. If you didn't see that, it's out there. It's actually video and audio available all over the place from WMUN, the talk radio of Muncie. Keeping an eye on our Zoom room camera. I'm going to switch out of the feature here. Hold on one second. Leave that one on right there. And how about if we put a graphic on the screen. Or perhaps we want it over here. Sean just taught me that. Coming up on what we call the bumper, which comes back from the commercial break to the host, in this case me, Steve Lindell, WMUN's Delaware County Today. And momentarily, I am thinking that I will see over my shoulder that the Zoom feature is enabled, and my friend Mick Tidrow will join us in moments from now. In fact, he's coming in right now. Mick, I can see you. I am going to enable your audio momentarily. Please stand by. You'll look fantastic. Thanks for combing your hair. Hot mic. Thank you, Tom Campbell, the one that introduces this young man on our Zoom camera right now. That is Mick Tidrow, the voice of the Cardinals, who joins us now on the Zoom room connection from somewhere in the great United States of America. Mr. Tidrow, always good to see you, sir.
Steve, appreciate you having me on, and it's hard to believe we're on December 17th today, huh? Where's time gone?
Unbelievable. Do you have your Christmas shopping completely done yet? Be honest.
I have everything except I think one thing. So I'm pretty much completed 8 days out, which for me is, I will say, impressive because usually December 22nd hits and I panic a little bit and I still got 30% to do. So
Okay.
I think just one more thing, which is, I feel like pretty good. How about you, Steve? Where are you at?
Thank you. I was going to say, are you going to ask me? And you did, because
Absolutely.
you're a reporter too. No, I haven't started yet. Haven't even begun. Yeah, you go ahead and shake your head. That's probably
Well,
very appropriate.
hopefully Nancy's not listening this morning.
Oh, she listens all the time. Oh, geez, she's listening. She knows it too. All right, let's get into sports of all sorts. Let's start with the basketball, the hoopsters, the women and the men. What's upcoming next for each of those squads, and how exciting is it to get the conference season getting going pretty soon, right?
Yeah, Steve. I mean, 3 days away, conference play begins already. So it's one of those deals where it moves up this year to be ready to get for next season, where we go to 22 league games for the men's side. They'll stay 18 league games on the women's side. But both men's and women's doubleheader on Saturday, December 20th is action for them. The women's team plays first at 11 a.m. Saturday against Eastern Michigan, 2 p.m. for the men's against Miami, Steve, who's 11-0. Miami just won again last night to move to 11-0 for the first time in program history. So a good test for Ball State men's basketball coming in Saturday. Look, the men's team, they might be 3-8, but you see the scores, what they've been the last few games. It's been 1-2 possession, close games. Evansville, South Dakota State, and this last one against Campbell, they're right there. And I think at some point that bubble is going to burst and those shots are going to start falling because they're taking good shots. And when we watch the tape back, you can see that they're running the offense. So it's one of those deals where can't wait to see once those shots start falling what it looks like. On the women's side, Steve, you might see 3 straight losses coming into Saturday, but look at who those are against. Number 13 in the net, Louisville, top 50 in the net, South Dakota State, top 60 in the net, Davidson, all on the road. Like that is a very tough schedule to play to end your non-conference slate. So the women's team is more than okay. They will be just fine. So the 3 games that they've played recently have been very tough on the schedule, and can't wait to see them in MAC play because this team started off 8-1, and I think they're a lot like that 8-1 team that we saw at the start of the season.
Mick Tidrow is the voice of the Cardinals. You hear him on WMUN News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk. We'll ask him for a preview of his Thursday morning program in just a moment, but first let's stick with the various sports. Aside from the hoopsters, what other sort of sports excitement is going on and near campus, Mr. Tidrow?
It's a great question. Men's volleyball and gymnastics are ramping up their practice seasons to make sure that they get ready for their January start dates because there's really no rest as soon as the new year hits. The men's volleyball team and gymnastics, both early January, they're competing. So those 2 programs are around and doing practice things and stuff like that. Gymnastics, for the most part, is really diving deep into that because they've got to get to their holiday window as well. And then as soon as they come back, there's no rest. So outside of men's and women's basketball, gymnastics, and men's volleyball starting their ramp up period to get ready for January.
We're on WMUN's Delaware County today on News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk, the talk radio of Muncie. I wanted to ask you about a Mike Fleck thing that you did recently. I saw it on the interwebs. I like Mike, full disclosure. The golf coach is absolutely the finest, one of many on the coaching squad for the Cardinals currently and for quite some time. But tell me about that conversation and that feature you had recently with Mike Fleck, would you?
Yes, Steve. I think that Coach Fleck is one of the most likable people that you could ever meet, like you said, and has been ingrained within this Muncie community for so long. And having a sit down conversation with him about the holistic approach that he has about his golf program and about what Ball State means to him and how things have changed since he started coaching and playing is something I think was an entertaining conversation and something that the community should hear, because we've heard and seen Coach Fleck in various platforms throughout the years, of course, whether it's updates on the season. But I think a sit down with him was just a way to express what he's done for the community and what he's seen with the changes in the golf community, and how, yes, the portal still does impact golf, even though the roster is under 10 people. Like, it's still, there's still things that they have to do to make sure that they're developing guys the way that they want to. And it's not, we're only going to the portal all the time. We are still wanting to be a program that brings in student athletes and they're around Ball State for the next 40, 50, 60 years after they graduate. And it's not a 1 or 2 year deal. He wants it to be still that atmosphere, even in today's landscape. And I thought that was important to hear.
Mick Tidrow is our guest. He's the voice of the Cardinals. When you're doing those sort of feature interviews with Mike Fleck that we're just talking about for a second here, do you get sort of a goal to make them cry, to say something to get them emotional? I didn't watch the whole Fleck interview, but did you get him teary-eyed at all, Mick?
I didn't get him teary-eyed because he's always very much business. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We had some fun. We had some laughs. We enjoyed the conversation, but no tears were shed in this one.
All right. Will there be any upcoming ones that you could tease us with? Guests, what is that feature called again?
Yeah, so Heart of the Cardinal is a monthly magazine type show that is about 45 to 50 minutes that is produced for our YouTube channels at Ball State and then social media platforms as well, presented by Wolf Boom Radio. And those are monthly. So we'll have one in January, February, March, April, May, and so forth. And those have been since, I believe, October of this year. We did some in the summer with football and men's basketball. And then we decided after that trial run to do a monthly show featuring all of our sports coaches, student athletes, to get them more visible in the community, because I feel like that's an important piece of what my job is and an important piece of what the athletics department job is, to make sure that our student athletes and our coaches are seen, heard, and all across our social platforms.
All right, this is Mick Tidrow. He's the voice of the Cardinals. You hear him on WMUN with all the various sports. I know the post analysis with respect to football is a little far gone now because we're out of the season and have been for several weeks now. But around campus and around the athletic department, what kinds of things are you hearing from Coach Uremovich and some others about what's next and driving forward with a program that is clearly, as of this season, seemingly on the rise, I would say?
I agree, Steve. And the 4-8 record, with 3 games to go, they had a chance to possibly get to Detroit for the MAC championship game and make a bowl game. It didn't work out that way, but when a first-year staff has put the team in a position to do that for the last 3 games and fight for stuff in late November, meaningful football, I think right then and there you can immediately tell that things are on the right track. And the energy right now is great, because on signing day for high school students, December 3rd, brought in 15 kids. None of them flipped their commitments on signing day. And then they added somebody as well on top of that. So I think when you have that, the right coaches are in the room bringing in the right kids that are about the right things. And when you bring that all together, I think you really have an excellent foundation for the first true recruiting cycle for this coaching staff, because coming in last year at December with the new portal window now opening January 2nd through the 16th, that's what the staff is now focused on, of course, but they didn't really have a whole opportunity to dive into the recruiting class last year. There was a lot of late recruiting. Now this year, there's the full length of time for the high school students, athletes, and now with the transfer portal, I think, beneficial for teams to have it the 2nd through the 16th from a season's over. First 2 weeks of January, this is what we're focused on. I know that creates some chaos from a class standpoint because classes do start January 5th this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know the academic calendar is going to slide back in future years, not because of football, by the way, not because of football,
Yeah.
but just because that's what Ball State is going to do academically to push back a week later in the future. But for this year, the institution at Ball State and the NCAA have worked together to make sure that student athletes on a football standpoint can still get into the university even if they sign like January 12th.
Gotcha. Mick Tidrow, who's on the big show tomorrow on WMUN? Give us a tease, would you?
We'll have Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell in. There's a surprise guest that we will hold on to for
Wait a
now.
second. Well, no. Come on. Who's listening to me? You could tell me. No one will know.
I did. It's a surprise guest. That's all I can say. That's all I'm allowed to say, Steve.
Whatever. I'll be listening, that's for sure. Mick
I
Tidrow,
promise.
voice
That's
of Cardinals, 9 a.m. Thursdays. It's This Week in Ball State Athletics. He will be hosting that on this same radio channel. Mick, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Steve. Happy holidays. Happy New Year to everybody listening. We appreciate you all from Ball State Athletics. Thank you for your support, and go Cardinals.
All right. There he always says his signature sign-off there. That's Mick Tidrow on WMUN's Delaware County Today. Next guest, moments away, State Rep J.D. Prescott. Stand by after the break. Coming up on WMUN. As we're talking, now we have hot mics right now, and I will tell my producer to give us the live mics now. Well, coming up on the bottom of the hour, he was so excited, I think, to be in our new video studio. J.D. Prescott decided to show up way early and had to sit in the back of the room while I was talking to Mick Tidrow there. Sorry to make you wait, but what do you think so far, J.D.?
I like the new studio, and it's no problem sitting and waiting a few minutes. You know, I've always kind of lived by the mantra, if you're not early, you're late. So I would prefer to be early. So nice to come out and check out your new studio.
We are glad you are here. His first visit into our brand new video, audio, multi-purpose studio here on WMUN's Delaware County Today. J.D. Prescott, House District 33 is what he resides over. Randolph, Blackford, portions of Jay, Henry, and Delaware counties. I'll start with the obvious, the one topic that you've probably talked about most for a long while now, as well as the other state reps and senators, redistricting. The failure of the Senate to approve the proposed redistricting of Indiana's congressional map. Were you surprised that the Senate voted it down?
I was not surprised it went down going into the day. I was surprised by the margin that it was defeated by. So we passed the redistricting bill out of the House pretty overwhelmingly, and then went over to the Senate, moved out of committee. It was obvious a couple of the committee members that voted for it out of the Senate committee did so just to get it to the floor, because they actually voted no on the floor. And so, yes, I was surprised by the amount of no votes on the bill as a total, but I was not surprised that it was defeated.
So the obvious question is, what happens next? Obviously, the issue is dead at this juncture, but what happens next, if anything?
Well, I mean, these are conversations that we're going to continue to have in the State House. So it's my understanding by the Senate rules that since the bill was decisively defeated, that topic is dead for the 2026 legislative session. It cannot come back in another bill based on the Senate rules. At least that's my understanding of the Senate rules. So I guess it could, in theory, come back as a different map or a different type of proposal. But I think this would have to start out of the Senate now at this point, because we know we have the votes on the House side. It's a matter of what it would take to get it done in the Senate.
President Trump was clearly disappointed that the measure did not pass in Indiana. He said a couple of things that might happen with respect to his ability to impact Indiana. Is there any reality or worry in your mind about some of those things that he's talked about publicly that may or may not happen?
So my biggest concern is, we've had a really good working relationship with the Trump administration. They've really put us on the top of their priority list for multiple major projects. I don't expect anything that is already promised to the state, or any funding that would be your normal federal funding changing. What I do think we risk, though, is not having that favoritism from the president for new projects that could come to our state. If it's between us and somebody else that's been more willing to work with the Trump administration, I think that's where they're obviously going to go now, and that's disappointing.
Indiana State Rep J.D. Prescott is our guest. We're on WMUN's Delaware County Today. Steve Lindell from our video, audio, multi-purpose studio on the campus of Wolf Boom Radio. Immigration policy, you've had, and you've talked to me about this plenty of times in our frequent conversations. You've joined state leaders and Attorney General Todd Rokita in advocating for stronger state-level immigration action. What specific state policies do you think that Indiana should pursue next?
Yeah, so we filed House Bill 1039, which we're calling the Fairness Act, and it does multiple things. But some of the key provisions in this legislation is it requires local law enforcement to honor ICE detainer requests, most of which I want to say we've got great law enforcement in this area. Most of which around the state are doing the right thing. They're following those ICE detainer requests. There are a couple outliers around the state, but this is requiring local law enforcement to follow ICE detainer request, or they be subject to our anti-sanctuary city laws that are already on the books. We're expanding those sanctuary city laws and the enforcement, making it a little bit easier for the Attorney General's office to enforce, and giving them some more tools at their disposal to get the job done. And another big section in this bill is on the labor provision, on the workforce industry. So right now it's already against federal law for employers to hire illegal immigrants, but there's really not a state enforcement mechanism. So what we're doing is we're creating a state law that would, if a employer knowingly, intentionally hires illegal immigrants, they would have some safe harbor language in here as well if they're using E-Verify or other measures that the Attorney General's, based on the guidance of the Attorney General's office, that if they're knowingly, intentionally hiring illegal immigrants, they'd first get a warning Then they would get a suspension of their business licensure. That suspension would ramp up if they don't come in compliance, up to a revocation in license. And that's key. That there's another immigration bill out there. What's different with ours is targeting the on the employer provision specifically, going after the business licensure. That is a tried and true method that's been held up in the courts. The other bill out there is talking about the fines. I think that's what we've got to work through between the two bills. I think that one would be preempted by the federal government and federal law, but the courts have ruled that states can enforce by going after business license.
WMUN's Delaware County today. Our guest is J.D. Prescott, House District 33. The Republican is in our video studio for the first time this morning. I didn't even ask you to comb your hair or put on a particular sort of garb. You just always seem to be dressed for the room, Mr. Prescott. You just always do that. One of the other subjects that we've talked frequently about, and you've talked about it even more, of course, property taxes. And we all, I think, know by now what the situation is at the moment. But what I would ask you this morning is, are property owners just kind of stuck for now until the 2027 session? Because I think that's when it might be able to be dealt with in large part again. Or am I reading the room incorrectly?
So with property taxpayers around the state, specifically homeowners, they're going to see the benefits of Senate Enrolled Act 1 start to phase in this year and then over the next 4 years. So the Senate Enrolled Act 1 will help reduce the property tax bills for more than 2/3 of homeowners around the state, from their 2025 payable to their 2026 payable. So homeowners around the state will see the benefits of Senate Enrolled Act 1 as it's phased in over the next couple of years. But as to major changes to Senate Enrolled Act 1, I think there will be some small changes this upcoming session, some clarifying changes for DLGF. We're also looking at the local option income tax changes, and based on feedback we're receiving on the changes that was made in Senate Enrolled Act 1. Now, just to clarify, the local option income tax changes in Senate Enrolled Act 1, they don't fully go into effect until 2028. So this is just changing the structure before that even comes into effect.
Okay, I got you.
And then yes, I think any major changes to the property tax system will be the 2027 session.
Okay, we're on Delaware County today from WMUN. My guest is J.D. Prescott. He is the House District 33 Indiana State Rep. You have told me plenty of times you like talking to people, constituents. Whether they voted for you or not, you want to hear what they're thinking. What's maybe some of those methods that you have to stay connected, and town hall or whatever sort of verbiage that you use, and when might some of those be upcoming for people to think about and plan for?
Yeah, we've got regularly scheduled legislative updates here in Delaware County that's hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and other partners. Those take place at the Ivy Tech campus here in Muncie. And then I also have, and you can find those at the Chamber of Commerce websites for the dates. I apologize, I don't have the date memorized off the top of my head.
Okay.
Then in Randolph County, we do the third Saturday normally with the Randolph County Farm Bureau hosting. Those have not been finalized yet. I was actually in conversation with Farm Bureau yesterday, making sure we're still doing that on the same day. So that should be announced here soon on getting those dates finalized. Jay County, we are looking at February 7th for a tool shed and meeting, and then having conversations with the again, that Jay County one's also hosted by Farm Bureau, and Blackford County Farm Bureau is looking at hosting one as well, but we do not have the date finalized yet.
Final item I would ask you about today is internships, youth engagement, pages. There's a page program at the State House. How might somebody be considered, and who could be considered for those sorts of experiences?
Yeah, so the page program, those are for our middle school and high school students. Really good opportunity for them to come in and visit the State House, see what it's like, what we do on a day-to-day basis. In the House chamber, they'll run nodes back and forth from the hallway to us on the House floor as we're conducting business. And then the internships that are available, those are getting ready to, we should be getting our interns here soon, right after the Christmas break. And those are for college students, whether they're in political science as their degree or other fields. They really help the State House run smoothly, answering phone calls, taking those constituent calls that we was just talking about. Usually the interns and our legislative assistants are those first points of contact, so organizing that feedback and getting that to us in a timely manner. I always try and make sure that I prioritize the conversations. If it's a bill that we're going to be voting on that week, I want to make sure that I see those before I vote. So helping both our interns and our legislative assistants do a great job of getting that information to us as legislators.
J.D. Prescott, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Thanks very much for your connection with us and ability and availability for us to keep you connected to constituents on the radio and now on the video, too. More on WMUN's Delaware County Today in just a moment from WMUN. All right, back to a hot mic here for the video viewers and for my producer in the Axia Command Center. Thank you to J.D. Prescott for being in our video studio. For you, Leslie, we will go to our floater list, and I think we'll have time to get to all of them. And I'll just stand by. Take this. Doing great. Standing by and looking through my notes here. Look and see if I've missed any texts. Some of that sometimes comes during the program. Oh, I'm clear. Good. Clear is good. Sorry for the cough, everybody. Oh, almost lost my papers. That would be bad, because that would mean I'd have to stretch all the way onto the ground, and I don't have those kinds of physical abilities. Hot mic. Sitting up just a little straighter because of the video cameras in our WMUN Wolf Boom Radio video audio multi-purpose studio. It's 8:43. Let's get a little snapshot of your day. Today, for the video watchers, you are seeing an angle right now where J.D. Prescott was a moment ago, but he's not there, so it's just a microphone. So I'm just experimenting with the buttons here. I think the angle 1 and angle 2 are probably the best for the duration of this particular program, and I will operate as such. We'll go like that, give ourselves a little logo recognition on screen as well. All right, Leslie, let's go hot mic. On WMUN News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk, the sports part is covered by our Mark Forster today and every weekday, 4 to 5 p.m. It's called the Power Hour. He'll talk Colts, he'll talk Ball State, he'll talk sports. He's even got some access to some high school movers and shakers. Mark Forster in the afternoon, 4 to 5 p.m. If you're listening locally, it's 92.5 FM, it's 1340 AM. If you're far, far away, like Nanjing, China is right now, let me make sure, clicking on that IP address, yep, that is our lone listener in Nanjing, China. If you'd like to send me an email from Nanjing, China or elsewhere, even if you don't want for me to disclose who you are, that's okay. I can keep a secret. Some of the best things I get are off the record, by the way. Anywho, if you send me a note, it's WMUN at woof like the dog, boom like the firecracker.com, like the interwebs. WMUN at woofboom.com. And again, if you write in the note, my name is, and here's where I'm listening, and here's why I'm staying connected to Muncie, Indiana, USA. But I'd rather have you not tell me or tell anybody on the radio what's going on with me. That's okay. I can do that. I know I have listeners in California. One of the many ones in the Cali, the southern area, is actually, I've told this story on the air several times, a retired, I think, CPA from Muncie, Indiana, who lives where it's warmer now, which is a good choice because it has not been warm lately. Though it's not nearly as cold today as it has been. I'll get to that in just a second from WMUN meteorologist Paul Poteet. Do you remember the phrase in that TV commercial a long time ago for a fast food restaurant that said, "Where's the beef?" Well, how about this as an introduction to this feature? Where's the heat? Sorry for the cough, everybody. Today's the 17th, thinking out loud here. On the video, you get to hear me mumble in between the live radio. This is the stuff that happens that you don't usually get to hear. All right, hot mic. Thank you, Hillary. There's Lakewood, California, clicking back on. Have you had some internet problems there in Southern California this morning? I've seen your little Alexa flag on my map clicking in and clicking off. Perhaps you're losing your connection there. I apologize for any troubles you're having. Today is December the 17th. Tomorrow, the 18th, you get a Pacer game on WMUN. 6:30 is the airtime for the Pacers here on the WMUN. Another story that has been covered nationally and really internationally, and now the jury says he did it. On WMUN with Paul Poteet doing our weather hourly. He said earlier this hour, it's not a bad day today. We're supposed to have something like 42 degrees, which is really pretty good for this time of year. We started 36. And then it gets weird again. On the nighttime, the temp will fall to 34 and then rise while you're sleeping. And then in the morning, it'll be 42. Thursday's high with rain, not snow, rain. The high will be 51 degrees tomorrow, Thursday. And then it changes again. There's a tiny chance of snow in Friday's forecast. It's not measurable stuff, at least as it looks right now, according to what Paul Poteet has told us so far this morning. Next item this morning that people are talking about, same script, different day in D.C. Leslie, I'll always try to stay with the verbatim as best I can on those so you have the cue to hit those. I know that's tricky. That's me talking closed circuit to the producer. I'm Steve. You're watching from wherever you are, people. I'll go hot mic. Lots of plays on words there with Chad. Headed for a reset on some of your health care benefits. Hot mic. WMUN, home of high school basketball. The Bearcats won last night. Yeah, it was a big win, 53-68. A home game that was on the road. We explained that one several times. Automaker saying no to electric. Okay, Leslie, hot mic. Saturday's the next Ball State game, men and women, and Muncie Central at Delta that night. It's a triple header play-by-play on MUN. Down south we go for a story of bravery. Okay, Leslie, hot mic. As I take my big gulp of air, you can see it on the video when I'm doing that. The radio people can't hear that so much, though. It's just behind the scenes, like the Wizard of Oz. Or is it wicked for good? I don't know. Oh, I'm so topical. That'll do it for today's program. We'll do this again tomorrow from this video studio, as produced by Leslie Griffin in the Axia Command Center. My name is Steve Lindell. Thank you for listening. This is called Delaware County Today on WMUN.